Mr. Rossetti, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Tell us more about your poem titled Jenny.
My poem Jenny is about a prostitute who has good in her heart, but her actions and behaviors show her as having evil. The Victorian era does not appreciate the good in her heart and only sees her bad side. I, on the other hand, approve of the good in her heart and see her as a decent, beautiful woman.
How about the poem The Blessed Damsel?
I wrote The Blessed Damsel when I was 18. At the time, critics thought of me as immature and idealistic. However, I proved them wrong because my ways of thinking have not changed over time. Many critics also describe me as a romantic writer rather than a Victorian.
You were known as a painter and a poet. What is your preference?
As a child, I always intended to be a painter. Throughout my life, I would be into painting and not into poetry, and then a decade later I would be into poetry rather than painting. There were also some times during my life and career in which I was involved with both heavily.
Tell me about your wife, Elizabeth.
I met Lizzie in 1850 when she was just 17 years old. She was a model for many of my paintings, and I soon after fell in love with her. Tragically, after losing our child, she committed suicide in 1862. I was quite depressed. I buried many of my manuscripts with her in her coffin, but after I realized it was a mistake, I took them out.
Can you explain the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood?
We are a group of painters who grew tired of the lack of imagination in the art of this time, which was the Victorian era. I don't care for Victorian painting, much rather a romantic painting, due to the fact that they cover nature and the beauties of life rather than realism.
Where do you think your paintings will be exhibited in the future?
My paintings will most likely be exhibited in art museums throughout England, preferably London for me, because I love London.
And how, Mr. Rossetti, would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as a man who had a powerful imagination, with a passion for art and poetry. As a person who rejected the norm and tried to create new expression of the world through art and poetry. Also, I want people to know that I loved Elizabeth very much.
Thank you.